recognize.
Hello, my name's Sammy Davis. I'm a Medal of Honor recipient. It's an honor to be here in...
We can do that again.
Sorry, I forgot where we were.
Yep, that's right.
Green Bay, Wisconsin. Beautiful Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Well, I was going to say Sturgeon Bay. We just came from Sturgeon Bay.
Oh, that's where, yeah, it's a lovely area.
I apologize.
No worries.
Hello, my name's Sammy Davis. I'm a Medal of Honor recipient. We are here in Green Bay to talk to the school children and to the Heritage Hill Museum.
And what will you be telling people about?
I will be answering questions this evening about anything that you may have questions about. And I will open up my heart and let you look in. So I encourage all of you to come down and be with us tonight. Bring a friend with you, and we'll have a big time.
Now, you've been described as being one of the inspirations for the character of Forrest Gump. Can you tell me a little bit about how that came about, to your knowledge?
I am the real Forrest Gump. How it came about was the Pentagon called me and said, Sergeant Davis, they're making a movie about Vietnam and they're going to use your original film footage of when President Johnson awarded you the Medal of Honor. And I asked them, well, why are they using my movie? And they said, well, because you were shot in the buttocks. And I said, oh, okay. And that's the reason why they were using it.
What are your memories of that day receiving the Congressional Medal?
The day that I received the medal, as a soldier, I had been very well trained to do my job in Vietnam. And I'm not going to say that I was not frightened. I was. But I'd never, in all of my training, had any training to do with going to the White House and meeting the president. So as I was standing up in front of President Johnson, and he was the footage that you see in the in the Forrest Gump footage, that is my actual footage, and my legs were shaking so bad that I thought I was going to fall down. And later, my mama said, son, your legs were shaking so bad, I thought you was going to fall down. I said, I did too, Mom.
Now, my understanding from reading is that your injuries ultimately forced you to retire from the military after a very distinguished career. How did you go from, the military life to doing these kind of engagements?
One of the key reasons that I travel and speak all over the United States, primarily to our schools. In 1981, the Medal of Honor Society had a Medal of Honor reunion in Hawaii. And at that time, we had 2 living recipients that had earned their Medal of Honor at Pearl Harbor. The boats that take you out from the main island to the Arizona Memorial just happened to hold 50 people apiece, and there were 100 recipients that were able to attend that event. So there was 1 recipient on each boat that had earned their medal there. Our recipient that was on the boat that I was on was John Finn, and he is today our oldest living recipient. He will be 101 July 24th. And our instructions were that the 2 youngest recipients on the boat, whoever you may be, is to pick up the big wreath of long stem roses that the society had provided to you, and let everybody else get up out of the boat and get seated on the Arizona Memorial. And then we were to carry it up, and we were to stand next to our recipient, which was John Finn, and the recipient was going to lay his hand on the wreath and say a few words of his choice, and then we were going to help him lay the wreath over on the Arizona, on the water. So Mike Thornton and I were the 2 youngest recipients. We let everybody go up and get seated. We came up out of the boat carrying this big wreath of long stem roses, and we go up next to John, and John reaches over and he pulls one of the long stem roses off of the wreath, and he says a name, and he says what the man's wife's name was and their 2 children, and he lays that lays that rose on the water, and he plucks another rose, and he says another name and what that man's girlfriend's name was, and lays that down, plucks another rose, another man's name, what his dog's name was when the man was 12 years old. And this went on for almost 2 hours with every rose that was on this wreath. And the Vietnam recipients, we were flabbergasted because we had always been told to forget about it. It wasn't important. But yet here was a man that we all loved and respected. Obviously, he had not forgotten. He still remembered. So that started us afterwards talking. Maybe we should not try to forget because that's not working. So let's try to remember. And in trying to remember, it has worked much better than trying to forget. Because in remembering, we've been able to move it from in front of us and move it alongside of you. And it's like the toolbox that we all drag behind us that has all of our lessons of life in it. We've been able to put that in our toolbox, and with that toolbox that we all drag around behind us, you can repair what's broken and build what is needed in your life, in your nation, in your community.
Thank you. What would you say your favorite part of doing these presentations is?
Say again, sir?
Your favorite part of doing these presentations?
The favorite part of talking to the schools?
Yes.
Sometimes the news media, most often the news media only portrays our young people when they have made poor decisions. In my position, I am able to go to schools all over the United States and I meet all of our school children. So I have a totally different perception of the youth of America. And the young men and women that we have today in the United States of America is without a doubt the finest that this nation has ever fielded. And I'm not saying that our generation wasn't good or my daddy's generation wasn't good, but I am saying that this generation today is the finest that this nation has ever produced. They're our kids.
Great. Let's see here. And during your presentation, would you say there's one sort of overall message that you're trying to convey to the people that are coming to hear you?
One of the things that I try to help the young people understand, and the old people, is the fact that you don't lose until you quit trying. Now, in the movie Forrest Gump, that was one of the things that I asked if they could find some place to put in the lesson, the fact about the lesson that I learned the night that I earned this on that riverbank. And of course they said, well, what's that? And I said, you don't lose until you quit trying. And if you have seen the movie, you realize that they did a good job in presenting the fact that no matter what you're faced with, you don't lose until you come to that point where you go, I quit. So it's worked out excellently.